Hello and welcome to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. I am your host, Kaylin John Louis, and it is my honor to be on the air with you all today. Just a friendly reminder to make sure that you are being safe around others as there is so much going on in our world, from COVID to all the emerging diseases. So please be safe when you are going around people, whether that means wearing your mask, whether that means getting a vaccination, or simply just giving people their personal space. Please make sure you're being safe when you are with yourself and family and around other people. Also, I ask that you please make sure that if you're listening right now, download the Hallelujah 95.3 app so that you can listen to the show on the go just in case you're not in your car and you still want to hear the show. Also, I ask that you tag a friend and have them listen in because today's discussion is going to be inspirational, it's going to be real, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I believe is something prevalent right now going on in our community, in our society, in our world. And so, just to get right into it, over the last couple of years, several technological advancements have been made to make the lives of humans faster and easier. From the wireless smartphone to the portable laptop and even the smartwatch, we can see that our world is constantly evolving. Specifically, the use of social media allows us to digitally communicate with others and share memories all over the world. However, while we know that social media can be a great tool, many have seen that it can also be used as a negative distraction. So today I want to talk about the positive and negative effects of social media and the influence it has on our world. So today's topic is Let's Talk Social Media. And I have a very special guest that I'm going to introduce. I really was happy to have her on. So just to give you a quick introduction, my guest was born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida, but currently resides in Charlotte, North Carolina. She graduated from Florida A&M University with a Bachelor's of Science in Music. She also is a musician, preacher, and high school chorus instructor. She is also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. My guest has a passion for youth, sisterhood, and bridging generational gaps. She is truly a caring and anointed young lady. Her name is Miss Denara Shepherd. Welcome to the show, Miss Denara.
Yay! Hey, Kaylin girl.
Yeah, so glad to have you on, you all.
I'm
I
so
have basically been growing up with her. She's known me practically my entire life.
whole
So
lot. Yes.
this topic of this show I thought would be perfect because I mean, let's get into it. Let's talk social media. It is something that we're always on. I mean, I know I'm on my phone a lot. Most of us are on our phone. What platforms do you use?
I actually use Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn mainly. I had a Twitter a couple years ago, but I deleted it because I just felt like I had too much clutter as far as social media. My students are begging me to get on TikTok. So y'all may see me on there soon. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. But yes, those are my platforms.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on all of those platforms as well. And I think anybody who's been using social media of late, which is practically the entire world, knows that it is cool at times and other times social media can be very draining. I mean, I
Absolutely.
know there have been so many people who've had to take a hiatus from it because every time they see something on social media, it's either negative or it's
Yeah.
just not something positive going out. And so, has that ever happened to you where you just need to take a break?
Absolutely. I frequent breaks, hiatuses. I After I graduated college because in college, I was so social media privy. Like I always felt like I had to be in front of the camera. So after graduating college, taking on a full-time job, social life, ministry endeavors, it became a point where I was like, okay, I need to reprioritize my time. Like, what is my time going to look like? And I don't know if you're an iPhone user. Shout out to Team iPhone.
I'm not, but it's okay.
Um, but there's an app that tells you how that like a built-in app that tells you how much time you've used your phone throughout the week. It's called Screen Time. So once I saw that my screen time was coming up to 8 hours, 10 hours, I'm like, okay, girl, that's a little bit too much. So in my quiet time with God, I began to develop habits of fasting from social media or fasting from my phone from this time to that time. And I find that when I do those fasts or when I take those breaks, like my mind feels so much more healthier, so much more decluttered. And I think social media, it can consume us to the point where we don't realize we're constantly comparing ourselves. I know you probably heard it before. There's a saying that says comparison is the thief of joy. So, us being young and go getters, we want to be a part of our friends' world. We want to, be relevant in everything, but we also have to think about what are my goals? Are the things that I'm constantly feeding myself on my timeline, are they lining up with where I want to go? Sometimes it's a simple thing of unfollowing people. I go on unfollowing sprees all the time. Sometimes I just don't interact with people enough, and I'd be like, you really serve no purpose here, so I'm gonna let you go. Other times it's like, okay, this your content is not feeding me positively spiritually, so I just make the executive decision to let them go. But I definitely from time to time go on fast, and I go ghost. I don't say nothing. I just, y'all gonna see me when y'all see me, and that's gonna be that. So yes, I think that's definitely essential.
I agree. I mean, I have taken breaks off certain apps. Like I've used, because I noticed the same thing as you for my Samsung users. We
Oh,
have something that shows our diagnostics of how much screen time you use. And I actually started putting notifications that shows me every week that you've used this much less than last week or this and that.
exactly.
Because I realized, I mean, I use them for communication because now that I am a teenager and I have friends who sometimes only communicate through social media. That's what I use it for. But I've even noticed that, like you said, a lot of times people can get caught up in social media to the point where they start going back on their morals or going back on certain things. Because I've even had situations where I may see something that my friend shared, and it's like it may be something funny or something that could be funny to other people, but I wouldn't share it on my page because I
Right.
also know that that reflects me. And I feel like a lot of people nowadays don't take that second look to say, how does this make me look to other people? Or is
Exactly.
what I'm sharing going to make other people feel offended or make
Yeah.
them feel like we're two different people? You're living two different worlds. So, I mean, I feel that it is necessary to take a break, especially in our society and what's going on. And I mean, we talk about social media, we talk about taking a break. Now, personally, I'm just wondering, do you feel social media has a positive or negative effect, or is it a little bit of both?
I definitely feel it's a little bit of both. I will begin with the positives. Of course, we live in such a technologically savvy age. So, the language of the era is technology. So it's like if you're not connected, if you're not plugged in, you're really not relevant. You're not connected to the happenings, what's going on. You're really not connected to the world around you. I think that social media is a great tool for research purposes, especially. I am a graduate student now. So, of course, my grad school studies involve a whole lot of Google Scholar, a whole lot of, research online. That's my primary scope of research, especially when it comes to books. You can find books online. It's so easy to connect with relatives. People use platforms like Ancestry.com to connect with people they never thought they would reconnect with. So for connection purposes, research purposes, even just for a positive escape. Sometimes life can get very busy and very dull, and you just need to open up an app and laugh at some memes. You know what I'm saying? Those are all the positives. And especially when it comes to spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ as Christians, that's an excellent tool to spread awareness. I think it becomes negative when we assimilate ourselves to a false reality through social media. So, for example, capping. You're one way in real life, and then you assume a whole different persona on social media, or you allow things that you see to try to shape you into a different persona. And that goes back to the whole comparison concept. You have to be so careful because so much is constantly feeding your spirit in seconds. If you think about how often you scroll compared to your screen time, that's like 8 hours almost of complete scrolling, a week. So you have to be so careful to not allow it to become negative. Of course, we're human. We all have to take moments to step back and reset. But I think it's definitely necessary to get back on the positive side of social media.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of positives and there are a lot of negatives. I mean, for me and seeing from my peers, I know that positively it's good for us to connect with each other. We're able to see what's going on in each other's lives, especially if you're like me, a dual enrolled student who doesn't get to go to high school every day. I get to see what's going on at school, but then you do have those negatives where maybe somebody reposting somebody else's post and is like, I don't think that was cute, or they have something negative or something gossipy to say. And I feel like so many people tend to use social media for those purposes, whether to go in one group chat and say this about one person and then come back and act like nothing ever happened. There's so much that happens with social media that people don't realize. And I mean, speaking of people not realizing stuff, now I know this went viral a couple weeks back, but everybody, I think everyone has seen the post from the FAMU college graduates who posted nude on her Instagram page for her graduation photos.
Lord.
I just want to know, what was your initial thought, or what are your thoughts now towards that entire situation?
I've seen a lot in my young life. But I have to say that probably took the cake in the top 3 of things that have flabbergasted my mind. My initial thoughts, I didn't know what to think. It was so vulgar in my initial thoughts. And I just was thinking, I kept refreshing the page to see, okay, this can't be, this not the Rattler behind, like this, no. Like, I'm on the Shade Room. Well, first of all, I saw it before it hit the Shade Room. So I'm like, it can't be, is it a student? Like, so my initial thoughts were just, I was blown away, honestly. I think it goes without saying the intricacies of why. I was definitely blown away. As an alum, I felt disrespected in a sense because that's my alma mater, and to see what in my opinion, was a blatant form of disrespect to my alma mater's grounds. It was just, I was speechless. And I kept replaying I kept replaying everything in my head. I kept replaying the site. I kept replaying the comments. I kept replaying the shade room, the comments of people who agreed with the act. And my mind could never wrap itself around why. Like, what is the reason? And I did scroll the young lady's page, and I understood that she is an aspiring rapper, which I definitely, if that's what you want to do, I salute you, go for it. But it's like, okay, at what expense are you going after what you say you want? You know what I'm saying? At what expense? The Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What does it profit someone to go after 5 minutes, even 5 hours of fame? And at what expense? So now it's, and I just wish that it's like, where are your friends? You know, like, where are the real friends who will speak to you and say, girl, take that down? Like, I'm thankful for friends like that. I have friends who be like, you know what, you're not in a space to do XYZ right now because you're gonna mess it up. You need to take some time to chill. Like, where is the community of people who will say this is gonna negatively affect your future? It's not even about, making your voice heard in this moment. And there were some young women who were saying, oh, this is a win for the body positivity movement and a win for self-esteem. I definitely understand all of that. I am for body positivity, loving yourself, all of that. But there's definitely a line of demarcation. I won't even say fine line, because I believe it's far from that line. Of blatant disrespect to one's alma mater. There's a time and place for everything. I felt like, where was the community? Where was the accountability? And where is the regard for your future? As an educator, I was shocked, and also I had what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just go with shock right now. I was shocked to know that she was taking pictures for her MED. So it's like, okay, you're an educator. Not only are you portraying something, trying to navigate or pivot to somewhere else you want to go with your career, but you have the youth of tomorrow looking up to your example. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, come on now. Like, what are we doing? What are we really doing? Like, and when I say we, I'm an African American woman. So what are we doing in our community that says, away with our future, away with the sacredness?
Yeah.
Those were my thoughts, and to this day, I ponder it. I laugh sometimes because it's just so outrageous to me. Sometimes you just gotta laugh, but it's like, where's the regard for your future? Because when you look back and you're applying to places, you're applying to schools and different organizations for work, that's what they're gonna pull up. I mean, it doesn't hit the shade room now. The internet is forever. It doesn't matter if you delete something. And I tell my students that all the time. It does not matter if you delete it. Once it's in the airways, it's in there. Once it's in the cloud, it's in there. And don't let anybody from the group chat screenshot it, because now you're really done. Okay?
You always use that as receipts.
Receipts. Hello, somebody. You always have to think about, how will this decision affect my future? Always think about how your moments will affect your future every time.
I agree. Because I'm 17 years old. I'm looking at her because I've read the bio. Everyone's seen that. Yes, her claim is, I've always dressed provocatively. I've done this. I think the thing that made me more upset and kind of confused with one, what you're saying of the whole body positivity, because one, I feel like you said, there's a time and a place for everything. And if
Absolutely.
you wanted to break the internet, there were other ways that you could have done that.
Absolutely.
Second, it goes down to FAMU represents Black excellence. And
Absolutely.
if you're like me, someone who's getting ready to go to those colleges, or you're seeing all those different things, it's like you see that there's stuff going on. You see that there are other students who may come on, and then as an educator, your kids may come into class one day saying, "You remember when you posted that photo?" Or
Exactly.
they may have certain comments that are inappropriate, and it's like those quick decision moments where you just say, "Oh, I don't think it'll be that bad." The minute you hit click and hit post and
It's
the
done.
world sees it,
It's done.
it's just it. And then I saw on the Shade Room that they actually are investigating her now, and I was seeing her responses to them asking her questions, and it's just like it comes down to the end of the day of why has this become a standard for our society, our world? Because like you said, there were people in the comments that were like, "Yes, you're doing it, sis."
Right.
It's just like you have to be able to stand for something more than that.
Exactly.
You
Stand for
really got to do that.
fall for anything. Absolutely.
And I mean, she's talking about being confident in her body, but I mean, that doesn't show that she's confident. She needed those likes as validation. That goes down to a self-esteem issue. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just her. It's That's what I'm saying. The topic is let's talk social media. We're talking about the fact that there's so many young women, there's so many young men who look at posts like that, or they see posts of them trying to get attention because they need that validation. And I think social media, while it is very positive, it has caused a lot of people to, ooh, as long as I get that like, or I get that one person always on my story, then I'm making it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And
Yes.
I just think that has caused us to only live a life for the likes and for the fame. And if this
Absolutely.
person likes this, then okay, it's a good day. But if I don't get this many likes or this many things, then my whole day is ruined.
Exactly. I definitely agree with you. And that's a large part of why I take breaks from social media as well, because I used to be so into those likes. And I'm going to tell you how the Lord humbled me. Okay. So this is how I knew I was really getting delivered. When my Instagram got hacked and I wasn't even in a rush to create a new one. Like, I was like, okay, the girl 3 years ago, she would have been distraught because I was almost to like 10K followers. Like, I had my followers, my likes were always at least 500. The comments was booming. And then, boom, I got hacked. So it's like, wowzers. But had I still been so attached to the false sense of validation that came through social media, that could have really done something to my self-esteem. And I'm so glad that these last 3 to 5 years, I've really taken time to get to know myself beyond like the validation of social media, because it's like things like that happen and people become so attached to social media. It's like they can't even hardly sleep if something like that were to happen. I know some people, they have their main bread and butter from social media. They make money from YouTube and their posts and things like that, which is lit. Like, I have contemplated it as well. But when it comes to self-esteem, as you said, and knowing who you are, you just you conduct yourself a certain way on social media, especially when you have a mindset of a goal or trajectory you want to get to. Like, you represent yourself in a certain way. So I think that's so important.
I do as well. I mean, it's about navigating it. I mean, for those listening, and that's what I kind of want to wrap everything up with. I mean, we've talked about things to look out for when you're using social media, because I'm not, by all means, I'm not saying that social media is bad. It is very helpful. for everything that I'm doing and everything into the places I'm trying to go. It can be a beneficial tool. Honestly, you just have to use it in the right way. You have to know that it reflects who you are, it reflects what you do. And if you know you're going places, you have to always think, will this thing that I share be something that's going to hinder me in the past? Is this
Exactly.
thing that I text someone really show who I am? Or am I
Text,
fitting in with people? Am I trying to do this just to fit in? You have to really think about it. And I want to ask you, I mean, just to leave it off and give your 2 cents, what's advice you give to other people about navigating social media and just being able to get make sure they use it for good purposes?
I would definitely say if the you in 10 years is going to look back and be disappointed in how the you now conducted yourself, then don't do it. Don't post it. Don't send it. But if you think that the you in 10 years is going to pat you on the back and say, hey, that was a good move, or hey, you moved well there, it's cool. I would just definitely say always remember your future. There's never a moment that's just a moment. There's never a moment that's just a moment. There is always a domino effect to the decisions that you make, and you will be at the forefront of dealing with the positive or negative consequences. So I would definitely say always think about you in 10 years. Are you going to be disappointed or are you going to be proud?
If you need more motivation, you can be like me, who thinks, if I post this, is my mama gonna be mad at me? Because we all have that one person in our life that we know, not
Listen,
just
call
God.
me
It's that physical person that we know that
okay?
can immediately. So
Immediately.
think of that one person and say, if I do this,
Yes.
is it gonna cause consequences for me later? It's
Exactly.
always a choice. Like I said in the beginning, social media is one click of a button. It's one click of this. You can use it for so much, and it's such a great tool. You just have to be wise. You got
Absolutely.
to be able to, the serenity prayer. God, give me the control for the things I can't change and the wisdom to know the difference. When you can't
Exactly.
change things on social media or you can't change things that people are saying about you, ask God for the wisdom to know, should I post this? Should I tell this to somebody? Should I do that? Because,
Will tap you on the shoulder and be like, no, ma'am, no,
right,
ma'am. Because there have been plenty of times where he has done that to me. Okay. And people, other people just mouthing off at the side of their neck saying whatever they wanted to say. Uh, but that comes with your relationship with him, and being able to understand that you represent Christ as well.
right. And even if you aren't religious and you're listening, still think about it. It still reflects you. It still reflects the choices you make. And you know that if you want to be successful, you have to look at the technical side of everything because, again, that is the world that we live in. I mean, this
Mm.
was great. I wish we had longer because I'm sure we could go so
Yes.
much more
This
in
went
depth
by
about.
so quick.
I know.
Enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me, Kaylin.
Of course. I mean, you're a powerhouse. You inspire me. So I thought it was perfect that I have you on here. And
Oh,
before we get off, is there anything, any ways people can reach you that you want to shout
yes.
out?
Yes. So I'm currently working on my website. However,
Woo-hoo.
until then, you guys can reach me on Facebook at Denara N. Shepherd. You can reach me on my new Instagram. I am Denara. And you can also, for professional purposes, reach me on LinkedIn at Denara Shepherd.
Well, you all heard it here. I mean, make sure you go ahead and connect with her because I'm telling you all, she is an amazing and awesome, a powerful and intelligent, wise, all the adjectives in one. She is someone that you want to know, someone that you want to have in your corner. Before we go ahead and close, I know I always ask that you connect with me on all my social media platforms. I still ask that you do that, but I do want to give one quick announcement. She Academy, the DeBolis Johnson Foundation, and Rickards Avid program is presenting Lunch and Learn, a career development luncheon for students grades 8 through 12 on September 17th at Rickards High School from 10 a.m. to 3:30. During the luncheon, participants will get the opportunity to meet with business owners, community advocates, and first responders for the speed networking hour. They also take parts in conversations about professional and personal development, entrepreneurship, and social media. To register, please go to https://bit.ly/22LNL. I'll be sharing it on my platform so you can get that link. And yours truly will be emceeing the event. So make sure that you have, if you're a youth listening or you know any youth, have them look into it, sign up, register, because it's going to be an impactful and empowering event. As I always say, I thank you for tuning in with me today. Without you all here, I would not be able to do what I do. I ask that if nobody has told you that they love you, know that I do, know that we got your back. And thank you for listening. I ask that you catch me on the next KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. Bye-bye.